This is Red Moon Role-Playing.
Our investigators had set out in two individual parties to investigate why their friend Jackson Elias may have been set up, framed for a series of murders, and how this connects to the Carlisle expedition. Shelby Shattuck intends to meet with one Erica Carlisle, the sister of Roger Carlisle, leader of the doomed expedition, and has just secured his appointment. He's on the way now. Meanwhile, Felix and Madeleine, they visited the Juju House, an ominous place filled with tribal African relics, and owned or operated by a man by the name of Silas Nkwani, who may have some secrets of his own. One of them could be where he keeps his teeth when they're not on show. For now, we will return to Shelby, as you arrive at the Westchester estate of Carlisle House. And this is a marked difference to the big city. I don't know whether Shelby has ever been or ventured into rural New York, but the marked difference between the built-up and the rural is sudden and almost like altitude sickness. The sudden open space, the mass of trees as well, greenery that is not permitted anywhere but Central Park within the city itself. But here, as the car drops you at the end of the drive to Carlisle House, and the driver says, "Miss Carlisle would prefer you walk up, sir."
Very well, thank you very much.
Sirs, sorry. And Rupert says, "Thank you, you were delightful," and he tries to tip him. No need, sir, I am a chauffeur, not a cab driver." "Well, you can, keep it if you like." "No need, sir, thank you very much."
I take the tip. Thank you, I appreciate it.
I probably owe you $20 anyway. And so you take the winding drive up to Carlisle House. It is gravelled, surrounded by topiary, although the place doesn't look like it is incredibly well kept. It has the kind of bearing of a building that was built about 50 years ago, so late 19th century, and after the building job, which was no doubt immaculate and architecturally interesting, no one has ever really paid for the upkeep of the place. So it's showing some signs of wear and tear. Some overgrowing ivy on the outside of the front walls, dirty sills and roof, and a front door, the paint and lacquer of which has long peeled off to reveal the wood behind. I suppose we just ring the bell like common street hawkers.
I look at him, then motion him towards the bell.
Oh, okay. And he pulls the bell string. A door opens, and then the other. There is an aged butler. He looks like everything out of every pulp novel you've ever read, Shelby. He is grey of face, his hair is thin, and his clothes are dusty. He looks like he could be about to lead you into a gothic tragedy. "Mr. Shattuck and Mr. Carruthers, Rupert Carruthers, pleased to meet you. I assume you're a butler." The butler blinks at him. "Yes, your assumption is correct. Please follow me."
Thank you.
See, I've got an eye for these people.
Very, very observational.
He takes you through the grand hallway, and it is grand. The exterior of the building belies the interior's opulence. It seems that wherever the Carlisle family are pouring their money, it is into fixtures and fittings such as an ornate mahogany staircase, many a cabinet filled with could be treasures and relics from places all around the world, the ubiquitous suits of armour, which have no right being here in America, and paintings and tapestries line the walls. This is like walking into a small museum. Crikey, imagine if we told the British Museum about this. They'd raid the place.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
This way, please, sirs.
Oh, yes, sorry, thank you.
You're taken through to a study And this, compared to the Grand Hall, is significantly smaller, more cozy and comfortable. Despite how warm it is this morning, there is a fire blazing in the hearth, and a young woman sat there beside it. She doesn't appear to have been reading, though there is a book on the stand beside her. Maybe she was before the bell rang. She is affecting the fashions that are just coming into New York. Her hair is short, and her dress is quite short as well. She has a overcoat just around the shoulders and a fur lining around the neck. She looks quite styled in a fashion, and she smiles at you, and you think it's genuine. Oh, you brought a friend.
Yes.
She's addressing both of you, not knowing which one of you is Shelby Shattuck.
This is my associate and partner, Mr.
Rupert Carruthers.
Yes, he can introduce himself, apparently.
Charmed. And behind me, and you didn't even notice them as you entered. Despite the close proximity of this study, you didn't even notice that there is a rather hefty-looking man beside one of the bookcases. He is practically camouflaged, and this is a literal thing. His jacket could well have books lined along the back of it to make it look like he is part of the scenery. It doesn't, it's just that the colour makes him blend into the scenery. And a smaller gentleman wearing brown leather gloves. It's remarkable because he is inside this warm room and yet still gloved, sat at a table in the other corner, far from you. He has a drink on the table and he is just watching you. The bulky man you'd put in his late 20s, the smaller gloved gentleman, older, early 40s likely. Both of them are watching you. She does not make an effort to introduce them, and unlike Rupert, they do not introduce themselves. Simpkins, coffees? Coffee? Tea? What is it that you drink?
Tea, please. Wonderful.
Tea, then. Pot, please. Thank you. Close the door. There's a good man. Sit down, then, won't you?
Take a seat.
Now, I did pick up one of you has a British accent, and one of you is more distinctly of a southern persuasion.
I have been trying to get rid of my Georgia accent, but I haven't quite done a good enough job. It's very perceptive.
Oh, you can beat the man out of Georgia, but you can't beat Georgia out of the man.
Yeah, that is true. But I have been more recently in London, so.
How fortunate for you. The centre of civilization.
So they say. And certainly we've heard about a wide variety of things, but it seems that, as I've been understood, that some of that information has been sensationalized. Now I wanted to get a more accurate read on some of this information to make sure that it's documented somewhere, to make sure that the hard work of this expedition was tracked somewhere.
I have to say that I am impressed by your manner of speech, Mr. Shattuck. I do detest people who speak rudely, uncouthly. They have short shrift here, I can tell you that. I will throw them straight out onto the lawn, won't I? She leans back, gesturing at the bulky gentleman who just nods. Mr. V there will do the throwing. Like lawn darts. But no. You speak most well for a man from Georgia.
I certainly try.
I have never been to Georgia myself. Oh. Now, you have talked a good way into my hearth and have my attention. You wish to speak about my brother's expedition in a scientific and slightly more positive fashion. And I must tell you, as I am sure that Mr. Gray made clear, there are certain things that I have no desire to speak about. Has he already briefed you on those?
He has, in fact. And it would let you know that none of those things were what I wanted to speak to you about anyhow. So it seems like we are in accord in terms of how we wish this conversation to proceed.
Excellent. I do enjoy a man who knows how to get straight to the point. Well, I can recommend Shelby. Shelby is always very good in the whole cut and thrust of things. He is superb at getting right to the point. I see.
I certainly try.
Well, speaking of which, you can ask your questions, or you can provide your statement to me. Do I just sit here and listen, or what?
Certainly, however you're comfortable. And I pull out my notebook and start taking down notes. It's like, I'm just going to... First, if you don't mind, I would like to run through the information I do have to make sure that I have it accurately. Because again, I would like to make sure this is reported correctly and not in a sensationalized form.
Yes. Simpkins, place the tea over there. You didn't even hear him answer. He is like a ghost. He will enter a room like this. You won't even hear him. Sometimes you can't even see him. I swear, this house, it just makes people disappear. That's it. No, we need another cup, don't we? Simpkins. Now, in fact, I won't. I'll go without. Leave 2. So, sorry. Do continue. You wanted to get the very basics. Let's start with them. What they say in the big city brass tacks. I don't have all day.
Yes. So, to be succinct, as I understand it, Roger Carlile organized an expedition in conjunction with the Penhew Foundation. Do I have that right?
Yes, you have done your research. You should probably cite my brother as Roger Vane Worthington Carlile. It seems every other press outlet has not given him his full name.
Absolutely. Make sure I'm spelling that correctly. And then...
And yes, Sir Aubrey Penhew of the Penhew Foundation. I can't say I know anything about him. I cannot give you anything of him. I do not even know why he accompanied the expedition. Perhaps Sir Aubrey needed money. Everyone else around Roger certainly did.
That's actually good to know, because the only contact I have for the Penny Foundation is Mr. Edward Gavingen as a director. Does that name ring a bell to you at all, perhaps?
I'm afraid not.
Okay, well, they were based in London, but that's something that I been in the process of trying to track down. They've been less receptive to me than you are, which has been unfortunate.
Well, I'm sure if you go back to London, you can knock on their door just as you have rang the bell of mine.
Despite what perhaps common parlance believes, not all people in England are as polite and civilized as someone like yourself, so it's been a bit more of a challenge, I hate to say.
Oh, you are a darling. She actually leans forward and slaps your knee.
Thank you, I very much appreciate that.
It is very difficult to glean the sincerity in any expression she's making or any sentence she is speaking. There is a certain glassiness to Erica Carlisle and the way that she communicates, the way she looks at you and occasionally looks at Rupert, but for the most part she only has eyes for you, Shelby.
I will continue to crank up the charm, and in fact, if you allow me, I can see if I can roll my charm skill to see if I can help to continue to push this in a positive direction.
I would love it if you did.
Oh yeah, 03 under 30.
That is a critical success by any measure. It's even better than extreme. In that case, the frostiness and the falseness starts slipping away. This is clearly a staged manner, something that she has put on time and time again, year after year. She is the only Carlisle now in her family. And so she is responsible for dealing with every single well-wisher, pen-pusher, someone who wants money, someone who wants the story of the Carlisles, any business interest, investment. She surrounds herself with lawyers and bodyguards and solicitors and such. But in the end, it's her signing the dotted line. It's her who has to go to all the galas and banquets and dinners. And she communicates this to you once that veil has slipped. That it gets very tiring, and you just end up just wearing a grin at all times. But with you, Mr. Shattuck, I feel I can be open, knowing that this part of my story... Sorry, my brother's story isn't going to get reported.
Absolutely not. So actually, since we're talking about that, I mean, you mentioned you are regrettably the last Carlisle. Have any of the other expedition members reached out to you? I've been trying to get a hold of perhaps a Dr. Houston or Miss Masters.
She looks you over, smiles a little. Surely you heard that they all perished. I actually travelled there myself to, well, corroborate what there was to corroborate, which was very little.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. I am assuming that anything in the newspapers is false until you tell me otherwise. So
Mr. Shattuck, that is music to my ears. Yes, the newspapers spout nothing but falsehood. But I travelled out there. I travelled once news reached me that my brother had perished, and I did not know what I was supposed to find there or witness. Certainly there was no... Simpkins, I'd like something a little stronger than a tea. I know it's only morning, but make something exciting for me, won't you? The fellow in the corner with the brown leather gloves starts pulling them a little tighter at the wrists. She is oblivious to this, but you notice it, Shelby. What was I saying? There was no body. There were no bodies. There were remains that were described as being that of the expedition members, but they were already buried by the time I was out there. I was just to pick up some things, some bits and pieces, any belongings that were left behind, and bring them back here. That I didn't know that was my role, to act as gaffer for his... Shelby, do you mind if I call you Shelby?
Oh, please do. I would love it.
I call him Shelley.
You can do that also if you wish.
Shelby, my brother and I weren't exactly close. He had a great deal of responsibility pushed on him very young, and there was the possibility that he could have grown into the new money. You know what they call my family these days? Looking back, robber barons is what they like to call us. Yes. Oh yes, and I'm sure you know that too. But my father left us with a lot of responsibilities, and it was Roger's duty to pick up where my father left off. Roger was not, I would describe, up to that task, and he certainly wouldn't share them with me. And so I had to spend my time schooling myself, or getting schooled, using the allowance that I had permitted to me, making myself aware, because I just knew I could foresee something like this happening, and me being left with... I'll generously call it a bag of excrement. And this is because of the kinds of friends he attracted, Shelby. I'm sure you've met the type, and she looks at Rupert at this. The kind of hangers-on, the kind of sycophants and leeches who like to attach themselves to wealth or talent or promise or fame. And when people come to me now and speak at all these banquets and galas and charity events, it's always such a shame what happened to Roger. Such a shame the path he walked down. So why could no one stop him? Why did you not stop him, Erica? It would have been like throwing a solitary life ring into an ocean during a tidal wave. He didn't start walking down a bad path recently, Shelby. He's been walking down that path since he learned to walk. And if I may continue my walking metaphor, as you are a writer, he decided that rather than hike the beaten path, go the places where he knew he was welcomed and safe and would be able to invest his money wisely and meet friends that were of his station, he decided he would walk through the wilds a little, feel a little adventure, experience some freedom. And you know what happens when you walk through places like that? You get absolutely covered with ticks. And eventually you bump into a bear, even down here in New York. So I am not surprised what happened to my brother, or his hangers-on. And in answer to your initial question, have I heard from the members of the expedition? As I say, I've been told they're dead. I hope they're dead, because if they reach out to me for a single solitary nickel, I will send Mr. V over there to answer their request.
Well, it certainly sounds like, I don't wish to denigrate your loss, but it sounds like you, in some ways, dodged a bullet.
Oh, I loved him. It may not sound it, but he was still my brother.
Of course.
Nearly ruined our interests, but he was still my brother. So who do you blame in a case like that, Shelby? Do you blame him, or do you blame the moons in his orbit?
Well, I mean, as we've mentioned, I'm in many ways just a Southern boy, and when I was growing up, we were always told that, how did my grandma put it? Them that don't learn have to feel. And it certainly seems like your brother perhaps didn't learn when he should have.
That's a good way to put it. And all of this that I've just rattled off the cuff, I don't want you writing it. I don't need another eulogy. I certainly don't want him castigated in the press or some well-bound book. And between you and I and your friend Rupert, he nailed himself to that cross as soon as he started spending time with that woman. Boone, I think she called herself, or he called her. A tribal type. An African, an Ethiop. She started pouring poison into his head, and he just lapped it up, because it was an adventure to him to sample something a little different from white skin, white bread New York.
Where did he meet her at?
Oh, some function or other. It would have been via one of his friends. I think it was probably Dr. Houston, maybe? Yes, Robert Houston. He always knew a lot of people. Very, very sensitive man. Very perceptive. If there was such a thing as psychic energy, like the spiritualists said, 10, 20 years ago, I remember when I was small and my parents would often have them here playing their parlor tricks. Dr. Robert Houston would have been one of them.
And he was I know alienist is not the right term anymore. Psychologist, I believe is the correct term?
That would be generous. I think alienist is probably accurate, even if it is outdated. There was also that other woman, Hypatia Masters. What a name. Another hanger-on, always trying to get into Roger's breeches. I wouldn't be surprised if she managed it from time to time. In fact, I heard, and I suppose it doesn't really matter now if she's pieces in North Africa, that he managed to get her pregnant at some point and then paid for her to deal with the problem. But you hear these kinds of things at parties. It's really unseemly, quite frankly.
That certainly paints a very specific picture, and as absolutely you said, none of this will leave my journal. This gives me some backgrounds to help me understand perhaps where the expedition went awry, which is more what I'm trying to cover, to find out what went wrong so that other future expeditions can avoid.
The expedition went awry because he read the wrong books.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. Someone who is intending on exploring part of deepest, darkest Africa, or the great savannas of America, or wherever, should find themselves reading the works of other explorers, not occultists, spiritualists, psychics, religious fanatics. And it was that woman, Bune, Nichonka Bune, that was it. She was supplying him with these books. I don't know where she got them. They were just, again, as I say, filling his head. I had rather hoped that... Do you have the names of the expedition members? She actually stops herself for a moment with a frown.
I take my journal and flip back through. Yes, you mentioned already Dr. Houston. You've already mentioned Miss Masters. There was also Mr. Jack Bradley.
Jack Brady. Yes, we knew him as Brass. He's the one I miss most of all. I mean, a complete rogue and reprobate, fanatically loyal to the family. A true man's man, if you catch my meaning. Someone I would have imagined Roger would always be able to trust to pull him back from the brink. The story goes that Brass was accused of certain things in California, and that in one of the very rare instances of my brother doing something smart, he somehow got Brass exonerated. Now, all of that said, Brass ended up deeply loyal to Roger, and more broadly the family. This is when my father was still alive. Roger was at USC at the time. But ever since, they were thick as thieves. You couldn't separate them. Would you like another cup of tea?
No, thank you. I have to be careful about my caffeine intake. It causes the pen to jitter.
You are a man of self-control, aren't you? Self-control, but abundant curiosity.
Well, as you can probably see, I'm not a slim academic. I grew up on a farm, so I would make sure that I try to stay healthy.
A farm? Old plantation land or small cottage surrounded by other farmsteads? What are we talking about here?
Let's just say my family was in the textile business, as it were.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Well, both of us seem to have got our money from something that I guess some people might consider illicit by the modern standards.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, absolutely. I just wanted you mentioned you went to Nairobi to look into what had happens, and as you said, you don't want to keep no discussion around the sensational parts of it, and I completely understand. Did you find out what the expedition was actually looking for in Nairobi, what their intents were? Or was that part of the being led astray portion you mentioned?
She frowns, she pinches her nose, leans forward, and the fellow with leather gloves speaks up. Miss Carlisle won't answer questions on that subject. No, it's quite all right, Mr. C. I don't think it would be a good idea. Well, Mr. C, it's a good job that you work for me and not the other way round. Shelby, there are so many things I'm used to locking away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether it's the way you've asked them, whether there's a genuine innocence in your intrigue that makes me want to... Maybe it's that. Maybe it is just the desire for the truth. I don't know. The truth of the matter is, I know very little about what Roger was really looking for out there. They were talking, I understand, of opening doors to new worlds before they left. I assume it was some trade deal they were talking about. But then, when I collected his belongings, I was already aware that some of the natives, the locals, must have looted the things that they saw of value. His gold rings, his watch, everything that could have been sold. Not that I would have sold it, was gone, but some of his books were still there in the last hotel room he remained at, which interested me. Why he would leave them behind and then head out into the wilderness. I would have thought if this was a part of his journey, he would have taken them with him, because he was always very precious over his books, especially with that woman with him. And so I brought them back, and I did glance through one, and if I'm quite honest, Miss Carlisle, I suggest we terminate this meeting now. Mr. C, if you cannot rein it in. Shelby is our friend. Shelby is going to tell a good story, aren't you? It frightened me. It seemed to substantiate Roger's crazy actions. Travelling halfway across the world. Talk of demons and magic, sorcery, all this utter drivel, you understand. Utter drivel. But very compelling on the page. And so I closed the book. I knew he kept most of his books in a safe in the house, so when I came back here, his real... the books that fascinated him, he had kept locked away, but I knew the combination. He wasn't careful. And I put everything I recovered from Nairobi back in that safe. There were still some bits and pieces in there, but I didn't look, and I'm not going to. They can stay there, because it just reminds me of how his brain rotted on this fool's journey.
It certainly seems to be the safest course if it's that slanted.
She just smiles at that, but it's no longer genuine. Well, this is all very fascinating, and I do... please accept my condolences for your brother. I haven't said much because Shelby's just been so good at it. I wondered if I might have a look around your library. I see there's lots of books here. I'm guessing you have a library as well, an estate this big. She gives Rupert a look that isn't kind. Are you growing bored of us, Mr. Carruthers? This conversation? No, not at all. I'm not bored. I like to know, as a researcher with Shelby, I like to know what our subjects, the targets of the people we write about, you understand, what they, as it were, what I'm trying to say is, what kind of threads make up the tapestry of their life. There, that's a good one, isn't it, Shelley? And
If perhaps I could help explain a little bit.
Yes, please save me.
No worries. Rupert is my assistant, and sometimes he's a little awkward around people, and I do apologize about that. But we do try to do, as I've been trying to express, a more holistic approach to our research, rather than simply taking the obvious, safe, and sensational approach towards a topic. We try to get as much information around the topic as possible, so that way we could present it as full as well, with all of the context that is necessary, while quietly omitting anything that is distracting from the core truth of our exploration.
Okay, well, I see. If you... Fine, Mr. Carruthers, if you want to walk around the library and jot down titles to get a picture of the family, then feel free. If you think it will be of assistance. I'm really not sure how it will be. You'll just find Trollope Dickens, Mrs. Radcliffe, Francis Parkman, you know, the usual types. We have a sizable library of all the classics. He gets up. Well, do excuse me then. Would one of you show me to the library? He says to Mr. V and Mr. C. They just stare at him. Simpkins! And he walks out to find the butler. Well, that leaves us alone. It doesn't. The other two gentlemen are still there. And so, as you get into further chat with Erica, we will return to Felix and Madeleine, who have just exited the Juju house. Now, they still have quite some time before lunch, so is there anything with which they wish to occupy themselves, or are they just going to wait? Let's turn to them and their interaction with each other. What are their plans now that they are leaving Ransom Court?
Well, that was an interesting meeting, huh?
Yes, interesting indeed. I do have a lead. Well, I don't know if it's a lead, but I have an opportunity maybe for a lead. He's invited me to a nightly collection of voices that come together to, how did he describe it, to meet and talk and plan. But at this point, that could be advocacy for the Black community, that could be politics, that could be poetry, that could be whatever this cult is. It could be a lot of things. The one thing I do want to note, and I'm going to throw my nose up above at the chatter and the conversation and the entire ecosystem of community that's happening above them. If we do break in, we're going to be watched. And in a community like this, they're going to feed each other that information. It'd be risky. I'm not saying we don't do it. I am saying that ecosystem is going to complicate things further.
Yes, I think you're right about that.
Also, and I don't, like, my entire face, like, folds up and I shiver. When you saw him, he didn't have teeth, correct? The toothless smile?
Yes, it was unnerving, to say the least.
So not to tip the scales further on how unnerving the situation is, but Felix, when you stepped out of that shop, he smiled at me. He had a full row of teeth. I am sure of it, and I am sure that he wanted me to see that difference.
I wonder why. Yes, unnerving. So what do we do? Do you want to go meet with this group, see if you can learn something more there, or do we just attempt this and hope for the best?
There's nothing saying that we have to come back today. I don't think we did anything to tip him from a place of suspicion. So he did give us a card for Emerson Imports that gives us a direct access and our own lead to walk there. We could check there. We could come back at noon and see if we're lucky. Or we could always do this another night.
Yes.
But we have an actual reason to visit, or we have an actual cover to visit Emerson Imports.
Exactly.
And a referral.
Well, let's pursue that first then. Let's see if that takes us anywhere. And then we can come back, hopefully for lunch, and see if we end up finding an unlocked door. And, well, you never know, I say, laughing a little bit nervously.
Based on just the intelligence that we have, help me see this picture as clear as you can. What is your initial read, or what do you think your actual read is on Silas? What do you think of him? Are we putting him in the adversary? Are we putting him in the mixed bag? Are we putting him in the potential ally category, or do we not have enough information to tell?
So it's such a complicated picture, isn't it? I was sure at first that he would be absolutely an adversary just because of, well, how unnerving the place was and what we've learned so far. But then there was this thing about how he was being shaken down for money by, what was that, the mob? Or something more threatening than that even?
Yeah. And I winced for a moment. Just because he's a victim of extortion doesn't make him a good guy.
No. I'm just more thinking that if he's a victim of extortion, I don't know. I just have this idea that what we're facing, whatever it is, that they would be stronger than that. Stronger than allowing themselves to be shaken down by something as pedestrian as the mob.
So as you say that, I do a half hobble directly in front of you as we're walking down these streets, and I start walking backwards as you're walking forward, completely engaged with this new introduction of perspective. No, you're right, because what we're working with definitely has the political sway to flip an entire police force, and if they don't have the political sway, they at least have the money to do so. So you may be onto something here. I might be able to get a better idea if I go to this. It might be a speakeasy. It could be a bar. I need to look it up, actually. Fat Mabel's?
Yeah.
If it's cold activity, we can get it confirmed. At least, hopefully, I can get it confirmed. If it's not, if this is some type of grassroots advocacy I can float Jackson's name about. If they immediately rally to the cause, that gives us some directionality. If they immediately go, oh no, he absolutely did it.
That would also tell us something.
Yeah.
Good. But then let us focus on collecting information first, and then just see if we get lucky visiting around noon. Otherwise, we'll stick to information for now.
My nose wrinkles, I smile, and then I'm going to stop, walk half hobbling backwards, and then just turn around and rejoin your side. Okay. To Emerson's Imports. Doesn't he own that too? Didn't we establish that?
No, you haven't established that he owns it. You established that the Juju House is a recipient of imports via Emerson Imports.
Okay, there we go. Okay. And we have a business card with the name, address, with Silas's name on the back, and now we just got another card from Silas. Well, that puts us on the same lead. Okay.
Finding Emerson Imports is no big deal. It's a long, narrow building on the edge of the Hudson River. It is available in all of the directories, and you can just call the operator and they'll provide you with the address. It's just beyond Hell's Kitchen, so it's a quick cab ride away, or a brisk walk, should you wish to decide to cross the city this morning. There are loading docks at both ends, and the building itself is a warehouse, basically. It's piled high with freight, with a small set of offices upstairs at the front. There are people working here. This is clearly an active business, not simply a front for some illicit activity. And there is a boat in the harbour, not a large one, but from which various crates and barrels are currently being unloaded. Several longshoremen are hard at work. Most of them are black. And there is a gentleman in overalls who is most assuredly not black. He has sideburns thick down the sides of his face, a clipboard in his hand, and a fountain pen with which he is scrawling, occasionally looking up, checking under his flat cap what is being loaded, or rather, what is being unloaded. He sees the two of you approaching. Strange place for a walk.
Ja, guten Morgen. We are here about exporting African artifacts. We've been referred by Silas and Kwame. Perhaps you know of this fellow. Over at the Juju House in Harlem.
I was about to say that the sign says imports. He points with his pen. But if Silas sent you, exports we can do. Come into my office.
Oh, thank you. And I motion to Madeleine as well to join.
None of you bastards, he points at his various cargo haulers. None of you bastards go stealing nothing. I want those seals still in place once those crates are where they should be. Follow me.
I nod.
He takes you to the offices at the end of the building, and the office is nothing to write home about. It is small. It is a small office, quite claustrophobic. There is light coming in, though he drops the blind once you're within. There's several filing cabinets. There's just enough room for him to sit at the other side of a table, which is stacked high with paperwork, but he doesn't sit down yet. There's only one seat for you, I'm afraid, but if one of you is prepared to stand, I'd suggest the gentleman.
Of course.
I noticed how you're walking, miss. He then walks back to the door to the office and locks it. Excuse me. He pushes past you, to the other side of his desk. He doesn't sit down either. He just leans on the desk, fists down. So what can I be helping you with? You looking to export something from the Juju house, is it?
Yes, exactly. Artifacts of African origin. I need them sent to Germany, and
that accent is like a needle in my eardrum. Can you speak English?
I'm sorry. It's just this is. Is this better?
A miracle. It's like a choir of angels singing in my ear.
If I speak slowly, perhaps it will go better.
Slowly is fine. Don't worry. What the scene you saw out there with me shaking up the workers, I don't think any of them would dare steal from me. But I've got a while. So if you need to speak slowly, you go ahead, pal.
So, we are looking to export these things, and I understand that it's important relics. We don't want anything to happen to them, and we understand that you're quite used to working with Mr. Nkwame, and that you are very good at what you do. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about the work that you do together, and...
you don't want to sweat the details there, friend. It's just a case of you pay me and I'll handle all the forms with customs excise, get it where you need to, and we're as right as rain.
That's exactly what I like to hear. This is what you do for Silas then, often as well, I suppose?
From time to time. Most of it's import, even to him. We do imports for plenty of businesses around the city.
Oh, mostly from Africa then, for the Juju house.
I got a lot of contacts and friends in Africa.
You work with several businesses here in the area, colleges, universities, historians as well?
From time to time, but that's more bespoke. Most of what we do is in bulk, as you can imagine. You don't have a business on the Hudson without having a bit of bulk business, if you get my meaning. Mr. Nkwame is small interest, pays well though.
That is good. There's, I've heard stories of this city, important families shaking people down for money. Is this something I will have to worry about if I do business here?
No, you just pay me. You just pay me and you won't have to be shaken down by anybody. Look at this guy, he says, pointing at Felix to Madeleine. He thinks he's going to get shaken down just because he's trying to get something out of the city.
I force a smile, because that's oddly unnerving to me.
And is also exactly what's going on right now. Because, yes, you may have one stop for your export, but if you think for any moment that this Mr. Emerson here is not going to gouge the hell out of you, you strange foreigner, you have another thing coming. So he just smiles at you. Unlike Nkwame, his teeth have not yet disappeared or reappeared, but there is something unsettling about it, especially the way he locked the door behind you. He is a large man. It is clear now with him behind his desk that he is grossly outsized for this office. And can I ask you both to make a sanity roll?
That's a 33 under 70.
Yeah, that's a 97. I failed that one like a boss.
Felix, as far as you're concerned, this is a convivial Irish fellow, me lad. He seems to be a lovely chap who you'd go down the beer hall with at some point or other. Madeleine, in this small office, this large man, there's a desk dividing you, sure. But every time you glance away from him and glance back, it's as if he's slightly larger. It's as if he's expanding. Surely he can't be. Surely he can't be gaining centimetres and inches as time goes on around the waist, around the middle, across the shoulders, even in his height. But you are sure he is bigger now than he was when you first entered. So what are we talking about? 1 crate, 2 crates, a whole boatload?
I will meet with I will speak with the museum to confirm the total quantities. I need to know how much budget I have, but we might be talking about four to 5 crates, I would think.
4 to 5 crates to Germany?
Yes. It needs to go to Düsseldorf eventually, but getting it into one of the ports there should be fine. I can take it from there.
He turns around. There is an old map, pre-Great War map, on the back wall that is covered in pins and notes. He rips some of them away from Northern Europe and tries to find Düsseldorf on the map before giving up. Coastal, is it?
No, Düsseldorf is definitely not coastal. It's in Westphalia, right? So it's but probably we'd want to take it in via like Hamburg or something like that.
I was thinking Wilhelmshaven. Looks like I might even drop off in Denmark and make our way down. Yeah, that's doable. That's easy. We can do it.
That's good to hear. That is very good to hear. Then we know that that part of the transaction can be arranged, and we don't have to worry about any problems with bureaucracy or paperwork or someone shaking us down.
You won't have to worry about bureaucracy or paperwork or getting shaken down. Don't you worry about that. Now, is there anything else I can help you with if you don't have an itemized list? I don't need to know what's in the crates. In fact, I'd rather not. That's just a general description. I'll rely on Silas to give me that. Helps in case somebody decides to poke their nose in a crate and sees something they shouldn't. But providing you're not shipping guns or booze... And if you're shipping booze, it's going in the wrong direction. You should be fine.
Yes, no booze. Only African artifacts. And I'll look to Madeleine here, and I'll also try to jog my own memory here as to what we might be able to gain in terms of information from Emerson Imports here with regards to what we've learned thus far.
Yes, the keeper stick will tell you that you know that Emerson is the US agent for the Mombassan exporter Aja Singh. That was one of the things you have already been informed. Eddy, I think, has that noted. You also know that he has a US account in the form of Juju House, of course, which you've just spoken about. If you want to find out more about Juju House, you might be able to get it from Mr. Emerson here. Likewise, you might be able to find out something regarding Nkwani, or indeed Jackson Elias, given that Jackson Elias had clearly had dealings with Emerson Imports to have obtained a business card. As the two of you wonder what questions to probe Arthur Emerson with, the subject of probing him becomes decreasingly wholesome. Because, Madeleine, you cannot take your eyes off of him now. It seems even when you blink, when you open your eyes again, he is filling up more and more of the room. And that smile on his face is not going away even as it gets wider and wider. And his eyes seem to be disappearing into the bulk of his face, becoming beadier and beadier. You don't know what you're dealing with here. Is it a monster? Is it simply paranoia? But soon you will find out.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play Masks of Nyarlathotep for Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Joining us as our keeper is none other than our dear friend Matthew Dawkins, and we were also joined by Bridgett Jeffries and Eddy Webb. The music was made by Ager Sonus and Halgrath, and we've also used Cryochamber's Lovecraftian compilation albums. All of this with the permission of Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, Lily, Maciej, Black Templar, Dennis Sadecki, and Leonhardt for their generous support. You would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, this show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of the Lost, Call of Cthulhu, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and Warhammer 40k Imperium Maledictum there. And you can also get early and raw access to all of our recordings, and hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as even play some Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, I am the last. I will tell the audient void.